And welcome to the podcast, Karen Bull. Welcome. How are
Oh,
you?
thank you, Luna. I'm great. Good to see you.
You too. I'm so happy that you are here. So let's start off with the first question for your episode, which is why did you love Young Talent Time so much?
Well, I had loved it since I was a kid. And I had started dancing when I was 4. So I was very much into the whole dancing, singing thing and loved watching the show every week. I was
Yeah.
obsessed with it. But I started at the Johnny Young Talent School when I was almost 14. And when I did, I made it my mission. I was going to get on the show. And
Wow.
I did. Not as a team member. I was realistic at that age. I
Okay.
was almost 14. But I made it on as an extra. And I remember the day that
Oh,
I got the call, and I was so excited.
my
And
gosh,
I
how
remember the
exciting.
song. Yeah, it was. It was like a dream come true at that age because I had worked my
Yeah,
butt off. I had done it in a term. One term in I was on, and it was in the days when it was.
fantastic.
I
Mm.
was on a mission. It was in the days when it was Tina, Joey, Bobby, Jodie
Oh,
Lope, Michael
wow.
Campbell still there. Katie, Karen Dunkerton, and I remember when I started, the first thing they said was, "Oh, another Karen." But it was the first song was Bohemian Rhapsody. I remember that was my first one, and it was a mega event. I remember that it was huge. We were in the recording
That's
studio
good.
too, and it was well, I joined them for that, and it was massive. But from then I was on the show pretty regularly, most weeks actually, for about 2.5 years. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, wait.
Um,
Before you go on, wait. So other people would want to know because lots of kids went to the Johnny Young Talent School with the same intention. So did I. It was the same, like, I want to go there because it might be a
yeah.
step to there. How did you become an extra? Like, what are the steps? What happened?
Um, I had enthusiasm. I think that was a big part of it. I had the smiley face, and I had been dancing since I was could walk, basically. And, the singing part of it, I was singing from that age too, although I hadn't had official singing lessons until I went to the Jogging and Talent School. And so even though, I was in the recording studio with the team members sometimes, but the main reason I was there as an extra was for the dancing and to pad it out when the numbers were low, but because the numbers of the team did fluctuate.
Yes.
Um, but sometimes, when I was there, it was often, to do the opening routine with them, to do the closing routine, or sometimes a cameo in the middle as well. Like it was for about two and a half
Wow.
years. Yeah, 1982 to 1984, and it was an awesome time of my life.
But
I have to
how?
say, it was
Did
a
you
weird.
ask? Did your parents ask, or did they ask you?
No,
Did they
no,
single you out?
they
How
just
did it
asked.
happen?
Uh,
Oh, okay.
they needed us for. They needed a group of us for the Bohemian Rhapsody routine. But then
Oh,
after
okay.
that, they put me in the jail cell. I remember that. Bobby was, the prisoner. Tina was his mother, and I remember suddenly I'm in the jail cell and I got my arms out there. And then they put me in the witness box as well. So I was in the courtroom
Oh,
scene too, and I think I just stood out a little bit. I
okay.
had the 80s, sort of poodle bum hair kind of thing. So I was, um, you know,
You say poodle bum.
yeah, yeah. Here's the thing. It was a weird sort of existence because people did recognize me because I was there
Really?
so often. Yeah, I was recognized, but they never knew my name. And they'd sort of try and pin me down, like, sometimes they'd work it out and they'd say, "Are you on Young Talent Time?" And I'd say, "Yeah," and then, but they wouldn't know who I was. And sometimes they'd say, "Oh,
Mm.
you're Tina's sister," because we had the same hair going on there for a while. And And I'd say no, but I got that quite
Oh.
often actually. So it was a weird existence because I was doing a lot of the same stuff, but I didn't have that, you know. It was weird, but it was awesome. It was a great time of my life, and I thoroughly loved it. It was
Wow.
great. Yeah. Look, at school, my closest friends knew, but everybody else just sort of worked it out, over time. I didn't make a big
Mm.
deal about it. I just loved it. Yeah.
Did the
I
kids
remember
at school ask
dating.
you?
What's that? Sorry.
Sorry. Did the kids at school ask you, like, oh, what's Tina like? Or can we get
Oh
an
yeah,
autograph? Or, yeah?
yeah. Oh, sometimes, yeah. They did want to know what everyone was like, and really, I only had good things to say. Everyone was great.
Yeah.
Everyone was friendly. Daddy was lovely. Tina was great. And I remember your first day as a team member. We had a chat just before your first performance. It was what a feeling, yeah? What
Yes.
a, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We had a
What do you
chat
mean
just
we
before,
had a chat? Where were we? In the green room or makeup
no,
or
no,
on set?
out on the stage floor, yeah. Mm.
What did we chat about?
We chatted just before you did it. I
What
was
did
there
we
that
what
day.
did we what did we
Oh,
talk
we were
about?
talking about just what you were going to do and how you were feeling about it and
Oh
everything.
my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I remember
Oh,
you were wearing everything. It was like was it purpley or something?
it was like
Yeah,
an
some bluey kind
electric
of, yeah,
blue, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And I remember your audition, your contestant song to Clang Clang Clang. Your
Gosh, I
audition was
hate that song. I could tell I didn't pick that song. It was given to
it was
me.
great.
I beg your
It
pardon?
was it was great, and you would have had Liana teaching you at the talent school like I did.
Yes,
Did
yes.
she played that after you did that? She came into our class that the next week. She played that in our class because we had a different class, you and I. And she goes, "This girl is good, isn't she?" And we're like, "Yeah, she
Oh my
is."
gosh. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I
well,
loved it.
I do remember practicing that song, and I was in some room with another singing teacher called Ray, I think it was, and she had like fake cameras in the singing room. So
Yeah,
she would teach you, when the red light's on, that's where you look to that camera. When the red light's on, you look to that camera. So it was like quick, like, how do you work the camera kind of thing. But I
that's
remember
great.
hating that song. I hated the costume and I hated the song.
Oh, well, it was great. And, yeah, for
Thank you.
those who don't know, Liana, our singing teacher was Jane Scully's sister, and she was
Yes.
she was yeah.
Yes. So tell me more about your experience. What do you want to talk about today?
Um, oh gosh. Well, one of the early ones I remember was a song, "Work That Body." Tina was singing that one. This song stands out because it was an unusual one. Look, for people who don't know, we would go in the studio on the Saturday early in the morning, and we would pre-record a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
dance routines and things. We would do it and lock it in, and then we'd do it again for the audience that night. But
Yes.
what went to air was what we recorded during the day,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
this particular day, it was a routine that I was out the front. Tina was just in front of me. She was singing, doing her thing, but I had all the team members behind me in an arc, and so it was Vince. He and I were at the talent school together, actually. Vince and
Oh.
um, and Jody was still there. Michael, Joey,
Uh-huh.
Bobby, Karen, Duncan, and Katie, Danny. Uh, don't think I've left anyone out. Not sure. And me at the front behind Tina. So they were all arced behind me, and we were doing this like an athletic aerobic sort of dance routine.
Yeah.
And Tina, and she'd go around to each one of us one by one as she was singing. And we didn't have time to record this one during the day. So we were going to have to like do it that night, and that was going to go to air. So I remember this was one of my early ones too. So I
Oh my
remember
gosh.
John Young came up to a few of us and said, we're going to have to do it tonight, but don't worry, there'll only be 4 million people watching. And I think I had an out of body experience. Oh my God. Oh my God. No second chances. Like whatever we did,
No.
that's what
Yes.
is, you know. Um anyway, it actually it went really well. Thank God. And in fact, Maggie Burns, the choreographer at the time, she
Yeah.
actually came up to me afterwards. I was sitting with Tina having a chat afterwards, and she came up to me and she actually gave me a really lovely compliment. And I have to
Oh,
say, that was the highlight of my teenage life up to
oh,
that point.
yeah.
Like I could have died happy at that point. It was just such a
Oh,
relief. But
wow. Isn't Maggie wonderful though? She's just a
oh, she
heart,
was great.
Maggie. Yeah.
Yeah, she was great. Yeah. So
You
that
were
was
so
really good.
involved with the team. Did they ever speak to you about becoming a member?
I think I was just too old, you know.
Oh, you're
By the
already
time
14, yeah.
the show, I was well and truly 14, and as you know, at 16 it's all over Red Rover, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. So before you got on, who were your favorite members in the
Um,
team?
Obviously I admired Tina a lot. I mean, her voice and her confidence and her,
Yeah.
I want to say swag. She just had it all,
Yeah, she
She,
did. Yeah.
I have to say, when I did meet her and worked with her, like I was always in awe of her. I wish I could go back again and do it again with adult confidence. That
Yes. Yes.
I would. Look, Jodie was lovely. She had such a pure voice. Such a gorgeous, pure voice and lovely person. And
Mm,
um, everyone was great. But as performers, at that time, probably Tina stood out, obviously, but everyone had their own strengths and skills. I remember because I started at that time and went for a couple, 2.5 years or so, some dropped out and others joined, like yourself.
mm,
Bevan, I reconnected with Bevan a few years ago, and he invited me to the 50th reunion production because he
yeah.
was producing that in Sydney,
Yeah.
and he invited me, and I happily went to that. That was great. I reconnected with Greg Poynton a couple of years ago, and he's been awesome. He helped me get started learning the guitar because I happened to mention I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. He was fantastic. He helped me work out what to buy. He gave me some basic lessons, on
Oh, okay.
to
Wow.
get. Thanks, Greg. That's why I've been a bit lately, but I've been a bit busy, but I'll get back into it. But Greg and Bevan, what excellent musicians they are. So talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So they're obviously wonderful um, musicians and performers, and Bevan with everything he does on the cruise ships these
He's
days.
incredible, isn't he? I know.
He's
Yes.
amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah,
Yes.
and he put out that album last year.
You bought the
2 years.
album?
I have the album, yes.
Beautiful.
So
Yes. Yes.
lovely.
Now, seeing
So
as you were part of the environment, did you change how you saw the show? Did it were you not like starstruck anymore because you were in the same environment?
it does give you a different perspective, doesn't it? When
Mm,
like everything, look, you see how things work and you see what's behind the scenes and how people really are, but it didn't take the gloss off it at all. It didn't take the magic out of it.
yeah.
It just gave another dimension to it,
Yeah.
and I became part of it. And but like I said, it's a weird existence being a regular extra. You're not fully in, but you're not out. You're like in, but you're not. Where are
Yeah.
you? It's
Yeah.
I was there doing everything. Like I was doing a lot of the same stuff as you guys, but you know and I was also a witch. I was a clown. I was I did all these
Oh,
characters as
wow.
well.
How fun though.
It was fun. Like I never knew what I was doing next.
Yeah.
And the dancing side of it, stretched me, and I loved that. And the performance aspect of it, was a little bit of a ham. You have to be, you
Yeah.
know, or else how are you going to manage the cameras and the audience if you're not a bit of a ham? I
Yes.
think you have to
You got to
be,
ham it up. You have to ham it up. Yeah,
or else
it's
you can't be.
entertainment. That's
Yeah.
right. Did you ever
And
come on tour with us?
no, I never did that. Yeah. I would have loved it. Uh, yeah, I would have really thoroughly enjoyed that. So no, I never got to do that. But I loved what I did, and but the time came, I stayed till I was 16 and a half. And I felt it was time for me to go. The
Right.
younger ones were coming through, and I felt ancient at that point.
So
And
how old, what year was that when you were 16?
it was 1984.
Oh, so I've just joined and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
about to leave.
yeah. So you and I weren't there for long together. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now tell me from then on, did you continue to watch the show?
Oh, I did. And I continued to dance as well. I kept
Mm.
dancing at the dance factory. Um,
Oh, the Dance Factory.
yeah,
Oh, you brought back
yeah,
memories there. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love
So in
that
South
place.
Yarra,
Yeah,
in South Yarra,
in Richmond.
in Richmond. Yep.
Mm, got close enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kept going to the dance factory. I loved that. And um, I still kept singing, but in a different way. I sang at weddings and sang on a cruising restaurant for a while. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I was offered a lead singer position on a country girls band in Tamworth, actually. The
Wow.
lead
That
singer
sounds
got
cool.
pregnant and they needed someone. But I was actually doing year 12 at that point, so
Right.
I couldn't do that. Yeah. So and then, yeah, my life changed. I became a teacher. I became a pilot, actually. I worked as a flight instructor,
Wow.
charter pilot for a while,
What?
several years,
That's
actually,
incredible.
at Essendon Airport. Yeah, I've got my own plane now.
Wow. What?
Um,
My
Piper Cherokee.
goodness.
Yeah, beautiful Piper
That's
Cherokee that I
amazing.
called Phoenix. So I fly for fun now, not for work. Um, and along the
Amazing.
way, I became a counsellor. I've got a graduate of counselling, so I did that on
Fantastic.
the side for a while, but I don't do much of that anymore. But I do
Mm,
fly um, quite often for fun in my plane.
that's
Take it around,
fantastic.
yeah,
Goodness.
places. Hire it out as well sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, life. I have two sons. Yeah, they're 25 and 26. Ryan and Kieran, very proud of them. So yeah, life sort of takes you in a different direction, but I have
Absolutely.
wonderful memories, and it's great to be able to connect with, you, Bevan, Greg, and
Absolutely. Thank goodness for the
yeah,
technology we have.
I know,
I
and
know.
you must be having a great time reconnecting with everybody, doing
Absolutely.
your
Yeah.
podcast and everything.
I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving just connecting and hearing all the stories. And yours is quite unique. So I want to ask you from 84 onwards, and you're watching the show, did you then not have that same fan vision that you did before? Like, did you ever write fan mail to us, or because you were with us, it was different then? Like, did you just watch
It
the
was
show?
it was a bit different. Look, I kept watching
Yeah,
it because I knew you guys. It's hard to
yeah,
stop completely. It's like
yes,
and it was interesting seeing some songs redone in different ways. And but it's different. Once you leave, it's different, like
mm,
um, I remember there was, and watching you all grow as well and develop and change. Like you were this little girl, and then you
I
developed into
know.
this amazing woman, and we're doing
Thank
all
you.
of these things. And I followed your career.
Yeah,
Sounds a bit stalkerish,
thank you.
doesn't it? But
I mean, I do the same with people that I follow too. Follow careers if you really like someone and
yeah,
what they're
but
doing.
yeah. So what I
Yeah.
mean by that is I did notice what you were doing and how
Mm.
you developed and grew and the kinds of things you were doing and the police band and all that stuff you were doing and I thought, oh, how awesome for you.
Yeah.
Um, and my memories of how you started and everything, because everyone had their own journey in a very special way. Everyone started in their own unique
Absolutely.
way and had
Yeah.
their own path. And I
Yeah.
think it was an amazing show and gave everybody such a special time. And I think full props to the parents as well, because we couldn't have done it without them.
Yes.
My mum would
So
sit
tell
with
me
the other
about your
mums.
parents. How did your parents cope?
Well, look, the Johnny Young Talent School. My dad mostly took me. I have to say, he'd sit out in the car with his newspapers and his chewing gum, and while I was in there doing my thing. And but Mum was mostly the one who took me to the studio, and she'd sit with the other parents.
Yeah.
During the day up in the audience with the other ones who stayed. Some would go or come back, or whatever, and sometimes she did that.
Mm.
So she was just like the other mum. So she looks back with her own memories as well, of that time. So yeah, everyone
Would
gets
you have a lot
involved.
of photos from then? Did you take a lot of
Um,
photos?
did not have a lot. In fact, Bevan was awesome because he managed to find some video for me. I didn't have anything. And when he
Oh,
was
oh, wow.
producing the reunion, I said, look, there's a couple of things I wouldn't mind while you're going through all the footage. If you happen to find this and this, I
Yeah.
really, and he did. And I said, I can't believe that you found it,
Oh,
because I thought I'd never see it again in my life.
yeah.
So I was really grateful because
Yes.
I didn't have a thing. We didn't have a video recorder at that time. We
Oh,
didn't.
okay.
No one took photos. Like I didn't have a single thing until Bevan produced
Oh,
some stuff for me. And since then, I have found a few things on YouTube, and a few things have popped up in Facebook groups. In fact, one thing
mm.
that popped up was, the song "Dancing" from Xanadu. Forget about
Yes.
the blues tonight. You know that one?
Yes,
Yeah,
I love
we
that
did that
song.
one. And that was an awesome one to do. That was when Michael was still around and, Jodie and the rest of them. And um, I thought I'd never see that one again, but that popped up on a Facebook group. And in fact, Katie made a comment on that. And I know she's not very
Oh,
present on Facebook, but she made a comment on that saying that that was one of her favorite ones.
oh.
We were all in like 40s type, uniform type things and doing all that. And that
Mm.
was a beautifully choreographed routine and a lot of fun to do. It was really great. And
Wow.
then I noticed you guys did that years later. I'm not sure if you were in
Okay.
that one, but it was redone years later.
Okay. Can't remember. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, we seem to have done a few songs a few times, which I didn't
But in
realize at
different
the time.
ways. Yeah.
Yes, in different ways. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And different members sang the same song or the same member sang the same song again. But at the time, I
Yeah.
actually didn't even realize it was just like a roll on of music, music,
Yeah.
songs again, again. Yeah.
And
But
everyone puts their own
okay.
flavor on it. Yeah.
Beg your pardon?
Everyone puts their own flavor on it.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you sent me quite a few photos. I haven't had a real good look at them. Did you want to talk about any of those? Because I'll put those up as
Oh
you
God.
talk about
Okay.
them, or have you already?
Them was the one with Work That Body, the one we did like that night with no pre-recording.
Yes.
One of them was at the reunion when I actually got to see you in 2021.
How did you feel seeing us a lot older, like catching up as going, what?
It
Or
seemed like it seemed like no time at all. Like seeing Bevan was great. He
really?
gave me a big bear hug. It was
Yeah,
lovely, and
yeah.
he hadn't changed at all. It was just like Bevan, he's full of life, larger than life. And you know, reminiscing that production was beautifully done, um, and I think and the other photo was me and my plane. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to put that up. Beautiful. Phoenix. Phoenix is your
Phoenix.
plane? Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
how does one buy a plane? Are they expensive?
Online,
I imagine
would
they're
you
very
believe? I'm
expensive.
the queen of online shopping. It was during a COVID lockdown, actually. But the plane, I got it for a pretty reasonable price. The owner really wanted to offload it, basically, and I wanted one. And I wanted that particular one, and
Oh, wow.
got it. Yeah, so I had to get it
Amazing.
flown out. I couldn't go up and see it because of the lockdown, but I got my engineer to talk to his engineer, and it all checked out. So it was
Mm.
flown down by a pilot called Popcorn. I know, it sounds funny. Anyway, so it came down, and yeah, it's been 4.5 years now that I've had my plane, and yeah, great.
Incredible.
Mm.
Incredible.
You're
All right.
welcome
Is
to
there,
go up anytime, Lorena.
oh,
Anytime. I noticed
thank you.
on your Insta or your Facebook, you said you were out plane spotting recently down at Tullamarine,
Yes.
weren't you? Yes.
Yes.
So
I haven't done that for years. We went and had a look. I'm like, oh, it's so nostalgic again. And they look so close. It's so loud. They're so close, the gigantic planes. But I am not a good traveler. I'm not. I was the one in the team that I was in from 84 to 87. I was the one that always had the vomit bag ready.
oh, really? Really?
Yeah,
I
I
did
don't.
not.
I get motion sickness, so I don't travel very well. I think
So you
it's
just like looking up, yeah. Do you know that's how
it's
I
all
became a
movement.
pilot? I went there with the guy I was seeing at that time on the back of his motorbike, looking up, watching the planes, and I said, "How do I
Oh,
get up there?" And I thought I'll just get my pilot's license, and that's what I did. But I was doing that at the time, watching the planes. Yeah.
anything else that you want to talk about, or you want to ask me?
Um, how do you feel about your life since young talent time? Like, what's your best memory of as well? Like, what's your best memory of young talent time and your life since young talent time? Like, um, has it panned out the way that you
Memory.
hoped?
My best memory of Young Talent Time is really hard because I don't have a bad one. I loved all of Young Talent Time. And probably I would say the highlight would be the touring, the big concerts where you've got 13, 15,000 people screaming. That
Yeah,
is the highlight of the whole thing. But then I loved being in Channel 10. I loved being in rehearsals. I loved being in the studio. So I can't say just one thing. I love the entirety of it. Once I left, I pretty much not went. I went downhill as in emotionally because it's quite traumatic to let that go. In
mm.
a sense of it's just all that routine and all that go 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 just completely stops, and you get off the train and the train keeps going, and you just stand there at the station going, sure, there's nothing happening. So it's a
Yeah, I get
real pick yourself up off the ground. And I just started gigging and doing live work. I did commercials. I got a contract with Sony for a while with a band called Culture Shock. Then I got the police band. And then I've spoken about this before. Once I had a child, I had my daughter. Instantly, I knew that's it. Like I'm not chasing this career anymore because that was then my priority. So
yeah,
yes, it worked out. I mean, I just followed my path as I went along after the show, just chasing music and trying to write songs and producers and all that stuff. And now that she's older, I've got this project now, which is amazing to look back on everything. So I've loved my life. I've had a great life. I've done so many so many things, and I think about it and like retell the things that I've been through after Young Talent Time. It's a lot. So I'm very happy.
it's very full. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
very full
awesome.
life.
I'm really happy for you. And yeah.
Thank you. And you too. Pilot, my goodness. Could never imagine becoming a pilot. Congratulations. That's amazing. Thank you
Oh, thank
so
you.
much, Karen, for this beautiful talk. And it's been lovely reminiscing with you. Thank you so
You too.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any episodes. Right, Layla?